Good morning, all, or happy lunchtime for my friends in Southdowns and others of you living in the future. And welcome to Kal-bardr's Corner for this episode of Coffee with Kal. I'm Baron Kal-bardr Gellir, painting the Meridian Cross, painting the Argent Comet, painting the Compostela, painting the Palmer's Lantern and Reaper, coming to you live from the southwest outpost of the Barony of Southdowns here on the beautiful southern coast of Meridies. Now, before we dive into the show proper, I would like to acknowledge a couple of things. First, happy Juneteenth. I'm super happy to see more companies in sort of modern culture embracing this as a holiday and recognizing the impact around it. So I was super excited. Like, as much as like it sucks for me, like I'm not getting paid tomorrow, but you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with us recognizing this as a holiday and that being a thing that is becoming a thing. And so happy Juneteenth. Secondly, it is also Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to my viewers, and especially to those who've had impacts on my life, mine specifically, if he's watching. Yes, surprisingly, my parents do watch my shows, even though neither of them have ever played in the SCA. I say that my dad did show up to an event one time. He wore a goofy newcomer's tunic. It was really hilarious, actually. So anyways, happy Father's Day, and Dad, if you're watching, I love you, and stuff and things. Enough of that mushiness. Okay. Since today's show is coffee themed, we have some important things to talk about, and that's our beans. So today I'm at the whim. Hi Maya. We have a cat. It's not official SCA YouTube show. Keep going. Thank you very much. Okay. So today I'm at the whim of Lady Kisa. She fixed the coffee for me while I was being sleepy. But fortunately, she has not steered me wrong. I have the chocolate cappuccino from New England Coffee paired with the caramel oat milk creamer. I'm not mad about it. Now, a new addition is this awesome new mug I've got. This is actually made by a local friend of mine whose name is Bronco. Awesome potter. He has a Bronco, I think it's Bronco Sloan Studios page thing. But I want to highlight some of his work. A small secret to you, if you're out in the mist, there will be an order of his pottery traveling that direction next week that Her Highness purchased from me to add to their newcomer stock. So there'll be some new Bronco Sloan pottery out there on the West Coast. Look forward to seeing that. All right. That's all the things. We've got our coffee. We've got our Father's Day. We've got our Juneteenth. Let's dive into a topic. So first of all, if you're watching out there, please let me know you're out there over in the comments section over there or down below. Tell me who you are, where you're watching from. And if while you're watching this, you have any comments or questions or things like that, toss them out there. I am all by myself today, so I thrive on your feedback. I thrive on your conversation. It's really weird sometimes talking to myself in this room. But yeah, we're here. So for today's topic, this is a little bit going to go back to the roots of this show. So when I started this show, and when I tell people about it, I tell people it's often the idea of what grinds my gears, which if you've watched Family Guy, you'll get the reference there. That was a segment Peter started on one of the news shows, I don't remember now, that was basically just him complaining about a thing. And so that was the original intent for the show was I would come on here and talk about the thing that's bothering me, or sort of the bit that's on my mind. And this topic came up for me, and I know the topic is a bit confusing, or there's been some different conversations about what rule number one is, and I'll get into that. So yeah, today's gonna be a little ranty, but also I'm gonna be a little honest with y'all about some things that have happened to me. I think that's important as someone striving to be pure-like to acknowledge my failures, and I think it's something I've looked at doing in my professional life when I get fired from a job or whatever in interviews later. I acknowledge the failure and discuss what I've learned from it. All right, so that's part of what this is gonna be today too, but also a little bit being a little mad about it. Because I'm a little mad about it. I won't lie. At least I was. I'm not really mad anymore, but madness happened. So start off with the topic. So rule number one, there are two of them, right? And there's a couple. This is not rule 34. Do not Google that. You will be sad about it. There's two major rule number ones. And rule number one, if you watch Tabletop or any of the Critical Role, so like that, Wheaton's rule number one is don't be a dick. Which I think for the SCA purposes is super applicable. And if you look at a lot of the pure-like qualities and sort of us as people, and whereas that's a very simplistic version of be a better person, do unto others you have to do unto you, sort of the golden rule mentality. Don't be a dick. If you look at that and look at the sort of the applicability of that, it's super relevant. In a lot of what we do, if you apply that rule before you do it, you'll be much more successful. Could you please move? I can't get to my coffee thing. Come here. You're sitting with. It's happening. So that's a rule number one, right? Now, Kal's rule number one, that I'm sure is not just mine, but I'm claiming it for the day, is have fun. Obviously, and we can call it a rule too if we need to. You get a tail, apparently. As like, yeah. I'm pretty sure the once you have your money, never give it back is the Ferengi rule number one. The rules of acquisition number one. That is correct. Thank you, Aslak. We can call it rule number two if we need to, because I think the don't be a dick is such a relevant rule number one that I don't want to impinge on that. But the idea of having fun is something that I think the SCA forgets on occasion, right? We've talked a lot about on this channel about the SCA being a business, and that it's a club, that it's a functional, it has lots of moving parts, and we have the legal side of the seneschal, we have the responsibility of the crown, we have the job of being a peer, right? These are all pretty heavy things. But at the end of the day, this is fun, right? We hear a lot about people having a bad time, and often the first bit of advice, and that's why I'm fading out today, first bit of advice you get is, if you're not enjoying it, stop doing it, take a break, stop doing the thing you're doing, change the thing you're doing, change to a new hobby within the hobby, right? Because the SCA is a hobby of hobbies. There's 1,000 things you can do within the SCA and 1,000 ways you can play. So, stop doing that thing. I think if we focus on having fun, right? And that's, in my opinion, the goal of the SCA is to have fun. Yes, we have the medieval recreation side, the education side, the sort of the what we're supposed to be doing based on our 501c3 status, or based on our sort of missions and goals. So much of that doesn't have to supersede the idea of having fun. Now, to tell you the story about what happened to me. So I was recently removed from a kingdom level office. So I was previously the Lantern Herald for the Kingdom of Meridies, which is the herald responsible for heraldic education within our kingdom. Now, there's nothing to be clear. This is not a call for support. This is not a rallying cry to go and burn the village down. Don't want to need any of that. The removal happened, and it happened without, in my opinion, without cause. But I'll get into that. But I was removed by the Beacon Herald, who is the person responsible for that, and I was serving as her deputy effectively. So our heraldic structure in the Meridian is a bit of a tangent here. The Beacon Herald is the one kingdom level officer that's the sort of big warranted whatever, like, reports to the crown. The rest of us are her staff and serve at her whim. Now, we generally serve 2-year terms and serve functional like kingdom level officers, but we are effectively her deputies. Their deputies. So my removal was their decision, and that happened. Now, I don't agree with it. I don't think it was what was best, and I definitely don't agree with why. So let's talk about the why. So this past crown list, and honestly, as I get into this why, I'm curious of your thoughts on this, because there were quite a lot of my actions in the comments of the post. If you happen to be in the Meridian Herald post, you'll see this. So I'm curious of your thoughts out there in Facebook and YouTube lands. So at the last crown list, the Meridian crown list, myself and another herald got together and had a little. Basically, they came to me and said, "Hey, I bet I can do better than you at heraldic boasting," which boasting is the sort of the introduction of the fighters, combatants for the list. So we generally process in each of our combatant and consort pair and present them to the crown, and a herald usually does that. And I said, "Okay, bet. Let's do this." And we bet a shiny thing. Basically, whoever won was going to make the other thing a shiny, or other person a shiny thing. it was literally just silly. This is a person who is a relatively new herald. They're still relatively young in their heraldic career. Maya, stop stepping on my keyboard, please. Thank you very much. But I accepted the wager because it's fun. It was a fun thing to do that made both of us try harder, maybe. I don't know. Get there in a second. So I reached out to a heraldic friend of mine who is more senior level herald in our area, and said, "Hey, this person and I are doing this thing. We'd like you just to watch us in procession, and you, as the sort of herald and violet, as the neutral third party here, you tell us which one of us did better." And I left the criteria up to them, up to how he judged that, right? Because better is a pretty relative term in this case. And I'm sorry, I'm going to nerd about heraldry for a second here, just so we all clear. I'm a giant heraldic nerd. I left the criteria to him of how he judged it, right? Because I think there's some criteria for looking at how you pair with your combatant consort, your projection, your alliteration, sort of the scripting, the whole thing. It's a production. It's a show. So I left the criteria to him and say, "Hey, you tell us which one's better," and that person wins. Cool. That was the extent of it. That was the entirety of the thing. That was all the production that came out of it. That was all the announcement that came out of it. Nobody else knew about it other than me, the other herald, and then this third party that we asked to judge. I mean, like, I'm sure like our partners knew and people we talked to about it knew, but it wasn't like a big deal. Come to the list. We presented our things. Myself, the other herald, and the third party met outside the field afterwards. I said, "Okay, who won?" He made a judgment call, and I ended up winning, which was cool, right? Harold and I both loved it. We hugged each other. It was a fun day. So later that day, we were sitting off the side of the field, talking about it. Talking about, "Oh man, we should do this. This is a cool thing. I think this is fun to promote heraldic, pomp and circumstance. Let's make it bigger." So we discussed some ideas about what we could do in a future crown list or future tournament list, and sort of a prize for it, things like that. We were sort of tossing around some ideas. And I'm guessing this person got back to their peer, and their peer went to the Beacon Herald, and so on and so forth. It then blew up. Post was made on Facebook in our heraldic group about it, and was basically we were told in no uncertain terms, "You can't do that. Don't do that ever. It's not proper. It's not appropriate." And I was like, now this person didn't. The Beacon Herald didn't call anybody out, didn't tag anybody, but it was very much pointed at me. I was the only one in question. And I said, "Okay, I'm going to fight this." And that was probably my mistake. I'll be honest. That's the thing I learned, is that maybe was not a windmill I should have tilted at that day. But it felt right, so I did it. So long story short, that conversation happened. Lots of posts were made. I was told by a lot of people that were friends of the Beacon Heralds that I was wrong. That was not the proper place for that. And then a few days later, I was removed. So, okay, cool. So I stepped back and said, "Okay, what have I learned from this?" First of all, don't tilt to those windmills. That was probably not a proper windmill to tilt at. But that's about it. I realized that I can often look back at a situation like that and say, "Okay, what did I do wrong? Where did I mess up?" And in that, I don't think I did. I don't think what we did that day was improper. I don't think it was wrong. We didn't hurt anybody, right? Because our heraldic presentation would not have changed. Oh, and let me be clear. Both our combatant and consort knew. Sorry, let me tag that on. The people we were heralding for knew and approved of it. That's important. It's an important note here, because when I step on that field as a herald, my job is to present the person I'm presenting and to work for them, whether it be crown or consort or combatants or whoever. That's the focus for me, right? And our combatants and consorts both knew. So past that, it didn't change anything. Our presentation didn't change. How we heralded didn't change. None of that was different. But So I cycle back to the idea of having fun. I said, okay, this has gotten super serious now, right? I am a very serious herald. Like I take heraldry to the nth degree, and look at it with its proper form of reverence. I mentioned the herald in violet earlier. Also, quick note: I'm not seeing any more comments coming in. I don't know if you guys are just being super quiet today, or if I have something wrong with StreamYard. So if I don't see a comment from you after like 11:08 my time, that's why. So I'm not seeing them there. So I'll look at that in a second. Anywho, so I mentioned the herald and violet thing. I look at heraldry as a very serious thing, and it's very important. You're speaking for the crown. You're their voice, so on and so forth. And I believe in that. So in that case, I was speaking for my combatant consort, and my performance that day didn't change. I'd have performed the same way I did with or without that bet, right? What that wager did was it brought a little something extra to the day. Okay, cool, excellent. I'm just thank you for a couple people comment there. I often get worried because sometimes the thing quits scrolling, so I'm like, I don't know if I'm not seeing things. And if I have a guest on, I can mute myself and pop the comments up on another tab to make sure. But I don't have that luxury when it's just me on talking. So cool. So continuing. So heraldry is important for me from that fact because you're representing someone else, right? So as a herald, I'm not representing me; I'm representing someone else. So I take that very seriously, whether I'm wearing a tabard or just functioning in court, because I heralded a lot that weekend. So yeah. To add like the question there, I don't know why. I don't know why it's improper, and that's part of the question I've had for the people around is for them it took. I guess I do know, and I disagree, but I do know. It took the focus of being a herald away from the combatant and consort and put it on us. At least was their opinion. Now, what I think happened, and this is that the idea we had for expanding the heraldic competition, that this herald, not again very young herald, who maybe didn't have it fully fleshed out, didn't have some thoughts, pitched a random idea towards their peer in the speaking herald. I think that may have got conflated with what we did, and I think that may have had parts to do with it, right? And it's okay. Again, everybody has their opinions, right? And again, I'm not mad at the Beacon Herald for doing what they chose to do because I was her staff and she got to do that. So I think to answer your question, I think that's what it was. Is remove the focus. I vehemently disagree with that because again, I've said that how I acted that day, how I heralded did not change based on that. So, all right. So back to the topic, having fun. Now, in the SCA, there are things like heraldry, like marshalling, like being a seneschal, like being crowned, like being a baron, that are super important and have a lot of very legal bits to them. I see a comment I want to address real quick. Yes, perception does go both ways, and you're right. Everybody out there, you're hearing my side of the story, and John, I don't know you, but I will tell you and everybody else out there, I try to give the truth as much as I know it. I try not to tell sides of stories, but you were correct. You're hearing one side of what happened. And if anybody wants to know elsewhere out of this, it's sort of not the point, but if you'd like to see the threads and things like that, I'm happy to send them along. Find me on Facebook. I can show you the rest of it. But yeah, you're right. So these offices, again, as a herald, as a marshal, as a crown, whatever, come with a lot of responsibility, come with a lot of depth and weight, and a lot of things you have to do and ways you have to do them for us to maintain our legal bits, right? I get that. And I never want to hurt that because I think my job is to protect the society, right? And I say that not as a peer sitting here, right? But I feel that's one of my jobs, moving towards my peer, moving towards that peer-like qualities, is protect the society. Because if we protect the game we all play, we all get to keep playing it. want to protect the dream, right? That's one of the coolest names I've heard for a knight is, and I think this applies to all peers, just don't get me wrong, is defender of the dream. And I take that seriously. I take that to heart, and I try to keep that at the forefront of my mind when I'm doing stuff, right? So when I make a decision to do something like this heraldic competition, I ask myself, is this going to hurt somebody? Is this going to break something? Am I against the rules? Is there something wrong with this? If the answer is no, I don't do it. Or if the answer is yes, rather, I don't do it. To add to that, so I had a filk recently came out. So our next bardic competition for Kingdom of Meridians is a filk. His Majesty's requested us to filk a song. I said, okay, cool. Our current king is a huge University of Alabama fan, and there's a certain song they sing at their stadiums called Dixieland Delight. And I'll let that sink in. For those of you not in the South, it may not have as much impact, but those of you who are in the South region, you'll get it. The song itself is not great to sing. The whole idea of Dixie is a little racist, or a lot racist, depending on who you are. But they still do sing it at the stadium. It's part of what Alabama College does. And so, okay, well, Keith and I filked it. We started filking it like on a trip home, and it just worked out, right? So, but I got to thinking, I was like, this may not have the like there's nothing wrong with the song that I'm writing because it's gonna be completely new lyrics, but the tune's still there. So reached out to some people, said, hey, I'm gonna do this. Is it gonna hurt somebody? And the answer was a lot yes. That regardless of what I did to that song, it was gonna hurt somebody, or it could. It had the potential of hurting somebody because it was the song itself, the tune itself had racist links, right? So okay, cool, not doing it. Sucks. Like I want to do it because it's a really fun song that Keith and I partially wrote, but not gonna do it. Right. So I try to approach everything like that of is this gonna hurt someone? Right. That's always my first response when I look at things, because I don't want to hurt people. That's never my goal. Is it going to hurt somebody? And then is it fun? Because I'm not going to do it if it's not both of those things. Admittedly, there are things I do that are not fun. At least not fun to the common people. Like I enjoy a spreadsheet. Don't get me wrong. Like doing inventory is not fun necessarily. We got to do it. It maintains the dream. It helps us maintain what we think we're doing. All right, let's see. I had a couple questions coming on. I want to address real quick. So the herald's voice of the crown, how much control do they have over their herald activity? Genevieve, none is the answer. But they can control who their heralds are. So in the case of your question, the crown, and I'm using crown, coronet, baronet, whatever, controls who their heralds are. And there's a trust level there of they bring a herald in that they trust to act as their voice. In the case, to elaborate off your question, in the case of my situation, I was not heralding for the crown at the time. I was heralding for a combatant and consort to the crown. So a little bit of a different situation there, but I hope that answers your question. Also, hello from West Crown. Hey, Germanicus. How you doing, buddy? From West Crown. I will admit, by the way, long live the king, the prince and princess of the West, Cyrus and Katrina. I was very sad. I will admit, my chosen fighter came in second and third yesterday in the West Crown. So Daoud and Patrick were both contending heavily in the crown. I was super excited to watch that. So I love my Westies out there. So I keep track of their stuff, especially since I'm going out there in a couple weeks. So glad to see some Westies are watching today. So yeah, I think the idea of having fun, right? There's a lot of what we do in this society that is very important, but make sure you're having fun while you're doing it. Make sure you're focusing on the fun and doing little things like that. So, crown list. I think crown list is a great example. So recently I went out to the Glen Albin crown list and I ran a swag gambling table for them. And there was some controversy around that initially. because people were worried that it's gambling, it's illegal, it's we're in the South and that's a whole thing, especially in Mississippi. We checked the rules, we talked to society, we talked to the kingdom. We're cool with it. There's still people afterwards that are worried, that are But what it did was it brought a little bit of something different, a little bit of fun, a little bit of silliness to a very serious day, right? Crownless is a very serious day. It determines who our heir is going to be and who's going to rule our kingdom for 6 months. Which the power of our crown is immense, and that's a whole different conversation. I think we should fix, but it's the whole thing. That's Cal's opinions right there. Bringing that gambling aspect to the day changed a little. It gave us a little something extra. But when I approached it, I made sure to remove any sort of impropriety from it. So we made sure that the combatants themselves couldn't bet. The marshals couldn't bet. The kingdom seneschal, the heralds that were acting in the tournament couldn't bet. We didn't want anybody that had a direct effect on the outcome to be involved in the betting, right? And also anybody who's ever done any like actual sports book betting, if you're where you are, that's legal, cool. The way I ran it was there was no, I didn't set the odds. The number of bets set the odds. So everybody would start out with a 1-to-1 until bets were made. So I had zero control over the actual outcome of the betting. I even tossed in some extra swag so there was extra stuff that people were able to pick from. So the whole thing. But it's stuff like that. It's little actions like that make things fun. So if anybody's seen me in person, you've seen my hat with the bells on it. This attitude that I have with the SCA is something that their excellencies, the South Downs, saw at an event, and they asked me to serve as their minister of whimsy. It's an unofficial SCA title. It's an unofficial thing within the barony, but basically my job is to do stuff like that. And I represent my barony when I go to events, and especially when I go to South Downs events, and I bring the games and I bring, silliness and, have a little fun, right, with the day. And it's those little things I think that we can do that helps us remove ourselves from the mundanity of the SCA. Because anybody who's done this game for more than a couple months, I think the first couple months it's all glossy and shiny and glittery, and you don't realize the toil and the drudgery of it. Once you've been here a couple months or a year, a couple years, it starts becoming mundane. It's becoming modern again. Is you focus on, I gotta set the tent up, I gotta drive the car, and I gotta sit the porta potties, and we gotta go sit at the gate, we gotta set up the list field, we gotta do the thing, and this and that. We gotta do things. The phrase "we gotta," or I'm sorry, I have to, for those who don't speak Southern. That phrase means you've lost the fun. And I was called out by a friend of mine on this recently when I said I gotta fight. I gotta get up and fight the next morning. A multi-day war sort of thing. And they said, "No, Cal, you don't." They said, "You get to fight tomorrow." That hit me. I went, "Oh, shit, you're right. I get to fight tomorrow." It's a mentality thing, right? So the idea of fun, yes, I'm the paragon of merriment. That's going on my resume now. That's a good title there, Randall. Thank you for the paragon of merriment. If I'm ever crowned in any kingdom, I'm going to make an award that's the paragon of merriment. It's going to be my one official silly thing I do during my reign. That's a good cup, man. I gotta hold on. I gotta point out this cup. First of all, I got big hands. I put my entire hand in that mug. It's a good handle, but also it's super thick. Like you could probably kill somebody with this mug. I'm just saying, that's a good mug. So, and it's not as big as some of my mugs as far as depth in it because it's very thick, but it's got some chunk to it. Anyways, so I think if we shift our approach and take this as advice, do with what you will, shift your approach to the SCA. Or examine your approach to the SCA and look at how many times you say, I got to do something. and look at that. I get to do something. And if you have trouble getting there, because I understand it, I get it. That's not an easy transition to make. Look at what you're doing and look how it can be funner. And yes, that's a proper word, funner. Again, I'm in the South. I add R's to stuff when I want to. Damn it. There's so much we can do. There are little things to make something more fun. That does not, and here's the second giant caveat, that does not detract from others' fun. Oh, yeah, I forgot. All right. So Westies out there, hold on. Time out for a second. I know a certain Kal-bardr that's coming out your way. I'm just saying, if I come home with a Paragon of Merriment award, I will not be mad about it. Just saying. There's 2 awards I want in my life. I forgot about that one. I forgot about the Paragon of Merriment. That's one of them. I also want a gold star from Onstiora. Yes, Onstiora has a gold star. It's a gold star award. That's amazing. So I need those 2 awards. I need to be Paragon of Merriment, and I need a gold star from Onstiora. If you can fix either of those 2 things, please crown at whatever westkingdom.org. Make that happen. Also, as a caveat here, an addendum, write your friends in for awards, folks. That's on a topic on Facebook this week. I probably need to do a whole show about it. Write your friends in. Go to your king, your crown. Go to your friends' crowns if they're in other kingdoms, especially now that we're in the virtual lands of the SCA, and this will continue, I hope. Write your friends in. Go to their crown. Go to your crown. Show them the impact they're having on the SCA. Be specific. Look at awards they've got. Look at awards that their kingdom has. Write them in for awards consistently. Do it all the time. Okay, that's my little PSA there. So from Keith here, the thing that made her stop at her second event was listening to peers. We had peers, knights, and Laurel's Pelicans in our area that were complaining about having to go to meetings and that they have to sit in court. And the question that follows is, if you don't want to be here, why are you here? I think that's a great question. I think that sort of sums up this topic. If you don't want to do this, don't do it, right? And remember, when you're sitting around, even when you're in your camp, even when you're out of line sight, even when your hat's not on, you're still a peer. You're still the baron. You're still the baroness. You're still the crown. You're still a prince. You're still whatever. You're still just somebody important, right? Even as a court baron, even as an armiger, there is somebody that's, I'm going to use this word, lower rank than you. And they're looking to you for guidance. Don't be that person. Okay? Don't complain about the SCA. Now, don't get me wrong, the SCA is not perfect. There are things I complain about, things I want to complain about. And I do them in my living room. And I go, this is stupid, and I don't like it. And then I look for a what's next? How I fix it, right? And I will admit, I now have a platform that I get to come on here and complain to all of you about it. And all of you are listening. Thank you all of you for coming here listening to my complaint today. But you'll notice the focus for me is always on what's next. How do I fix it? How do we move forward? All right. So I think something to the idea of meetings, right? So something that our peerage circles have done a lot of is focusing on online meetings. That's a great solution to that, right? So if I was someone, I don't get to go to any of the peerage meetings yet. I'm going to go to any of the. I don't have any meetings I get to go to yet. One day that'll be a thing I do. And when I do that, I will help make a suggestion to make those things better and make them less of a problematic thing, less of a painful thing for us to do. Because who wants to go to a meeting? Like, nobody wants to go to meetings. I get it. Especially you don't want to spend your SCA time at events going to meetings. I understand that. I think something our groups do, and I've heard of, that makes it funny and fun, is that the newest person in those orders brings donuts or cookies or beer or something like that. It's a funny thing they do. It's sort of a hazing thing, but it brings fun. It makes those events more enjoyable. So I think focus on stuff like that. Come up with things to do, right? So if you go to an event and you're realizing that you have to go to an event because you're a marshal or something, right? Do something fun. Look at something fun to do. Find a thing to help you enjoy the SCA more. Because what's going to happen is when you do that, other people will enjoy the SCA more because of you. Here's an idea for I'll toss out there for y'all, and I'll send you the file for this if anybody wants to do this, or make your own. It's fine. So I recently made, I say recently, like a year ago now, I made some little wooden coins that say Heed on the back of them, Heed, Heed, that I can now, I keep in my pouch when I go to an event, and I walk up to the marshals and pay them heed. Because as a young fighter, I was always told by the herald, pay heed the marshals, which was probably a southern just oops in the wording, but it became a funny thing in our kingdom. So I now walk up to marshals and I pay them heed coins, right? These marshals, like you don't want a marshal fight because you want to be fighting, right? You want to be out there fighting. But that little bit of thing made them laugh that day. It was something I enjoy doing because it's funny. I love a good pun. But those marshals then got to enjoy their job a little bit more because I brought them that coin. And it's a little dumb thing that cost me like a nickel, right? But it's funny. Things like that can help us enjoy this game more. Let's see. Her Highness Helga said it best. You are someone's hero at some point. You will become someone's villain. That transition takes 1 second or moment of behavior or a word to occur. Thank you, Remote, for that. And thank you to Helga via proxy there. Yeah. So you are someone's hero. This is something that, who was it recently? It's Majesty Lachlan, actually, at an event I sort of had that mindset of, oh crap, I'm someone's first king now. Because this is his first reign. You're always going to be someone's first king. You're going to be someone's first peer. You're going to be someone's first baron. You're going to be someone's first something. Live your life. Your SCA life, your mundane life, your modern life. So that you're always that good one. Let's see. Let me scroll back here. Oh yeah. So from the Baroness of Shattered Crystal, make sure you're writing for people for Bronial Wars 2. When I say crown and award recommendations, make sure to include Bronial Wars 2. If you don't know who the person belongs to or where to find them, ping someone. I'll be happy to help you hunt somebody down. Between my wife and my Google Foo, we can generally find just about anything on anybody. It's kind of scary actually. So yeah, ping me. I'll be happy to help you find the right people to write into, or find someone close to that person and say, hey, I'm looking at such and such. I really want to write them in for this award because they did a cool thing. What's the best route for this? And somebody like Patron is a great example. If she's not the relevant person for that, she will get you to the right person. Or as a Baroness can forward your note along to the right person. So thank you for that, Your Excellency. Let's see. Newest Pelicans in my kingdom used to bring fish things like candy Swedish fish. I think the ship used to bring beer. There you go. So again, it's fun, right? It's a fun thing that makes now people who have to go to those meetings. Oh, cool! We get candy. Neat. Like it's a fun thing. I think it's hilarious. Magister Terran was made a pelican a couple years ago, and he came from Aidenvelt. And in the barony of Aidenvelt, barony in Aidenvelt that he came from, that they had a pelican medallion that was like a statue of a pelican on a post thing. It was huge, but it was something that they did for new pelicans as a sort of one. It's a funny thing, right? Because you get this giant pelican medallion, but also it reminded them the weight of the peerage, which I think is kind of cool. So it has like a double-edged sword sort of effect. So when he was elevated here in Meridias, they actually shipped him the thing. They shipped it to somebody who brought it to him, so he could experience that from, he was no longer in Aidenvelt. I thought that was super cool. Let's see. I think it's worthwhile to occasionally think about, why do I choose the SCA as a place to have fun? Does my personal definition of fun activity line up with the SCA's rules? That's a really good question. I think if you're not doing that every 6 months, you should be. Is honestly just the is this still fun question, right? Because there are days I think everybody here can agree with you, with me and Genevieve. There are days where this activity is not fun, right? I will admit, the day I was removed as Lantern Herald was not fun for me. That was a shitty day. I was mad about it for reasons other than Lantern Herald part, but like it changes my projective or projective. I just combine words into a word that exists. Perspective and projected perspective, projective. Making up words. It's early, guys. There's not enough coffee yet. That's the problem here. To continue on, John Viev's statement here. If you define fun as yelling at the moon all night, but the SCA event requires quiet time after 12 p.m., then your fun doesn't align with the SCA. So look for fun elsewhere. That's, here's the thing. I think the SCA is a great place. It is not for everybody. It's just not. I want it to be for everybody, right? And my personal goal, and I think the goal of the SCA is to be more inclusive, more diverse, more inviting, and we're definitely getting better. But you're right. There are things we do in our combat system. There's things we do in our heraldry. There's our crown system that not everybody's going to agree with. And honestly, there's some of our diversity that everybody agrees with. Excuse me. Those people have left. You know what? I'm not mad at them. I disagree with their why. I disagree with their approach. But you know what? I'm happy they left. I'm happy they're seeking their fun elsewhere. I'm happy they're seeking their happiness elsewhere. Do I wish they were better people? Yeah. Do I wish they had better thoughts on life? Yeah, I do. But that's not a thing I can fix. Come on. Sit with me. No, I said come sit with me. No. I need cat day. Let's see what John's got to say. The longer I've been in the SCA, the more often I've had to reevaluate and find a way to reinvent what I'm doing to recapture the magic and fun. Yeah, you're right. It's hard. And I hear this a lot from people who have been crowned. That once you've been crowned or been a chancellor, sort of, once you've seen behind the curtain, so to speak, it's a lot harder to pull the curtain back. Like you can never fully pull it back down. It's always going to be a little bit open for you because I've never been crowned, never been a chancellor, I've never been there, but I've been close enough to the curtain that I've peeked in a little and I know what goes on behind the scenes. And it is difficult to pull the curtain back down and to cover up the bad. In this case, I use bad as the legal side of the SCA, right? What the crown does day to day when they're not wearing the fancy hat, and what our seneschal does, and what the Kingdom Law Committee does, and all these. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. So it's difficult to know that's there, but like blow bubbles over here, right? Those are two things that are hard to balance. My advice, I've talked about this in a previous show, but I think it's relevant here. The way I do that is I separate the two. And I know it's something everybody can do, and I get it. But focus on this as a thing. And John, I hope this helps you and others out there. Separate the non-fun parts of the SCA in your head. So the legal bits, the financial side, the paying for this or that, this person's got to get banished stuff, right? All the stuff that's the not fun parts, because those exist, right? Take all that and wrap it up in legal and mundanity in your head as this is a hobby group that has to function. Put all that in a box and set it over here. It's there. We got it. We're going to keep this box going. We're going to keep tuning the wheels, keep making sure this happens. The rest of the SCA then becomes fun because you have all of the pretty, the crowns, the pointy hats, the games, the heraldry, the fighting, all the fun stuff we do. Then you've removed all the legal side. You removed all the not fun stuff from it. You get to have fun with it again. That's helped me. And don't get me wrong, occasionally that box pops open and I gotta corral it all back in. And there's days I gotta open that box and go in and sort it out and do stuff and be legal, right? I'm currently working on transitioning into the Kingdom Regalia officer role with actually Her Ladyship Bruna. And we've had to maintain that balance with that, right? Because we're dealing with Kingdom Regalia. We're dealing with stuff that the crowns need that's pretty and fun and makes our kingdom better. but also there's some like legal stuff we got to deal with, like insurance and how we insure certain items. We recently had and I'll shout out to Sir Jean Claude here. He recently donated a ring to our kingdom that is a 15th century seal ring with a Unisil M. For Meridians, we have one of our Papa's badges is the Unsil M. And he found it at some auction and bought it for the kingdom and donated it. That's awesome. And like the Baron Kal-bardr in me really appreciates that. Like, oh man, cool, we get this really neat ring now we can use for our crowns and such stuff and so forth. But then the regalia officer in me went, ooh, but we got to insure that now, and there's paperwork involved, and I got to figure out how to deal with that, right? Those are two separate thoughts for me, and I had them, simultaneously just about, but it was two separate thoughts. I focused on the fun thoughts while I was at the event. I was super excited that this crown gets this new thing, and our kingdom now has a new piece of regalia we get to keep and use and whatever. And when I got home, I went, all right, cool. What's next? What do I do to make sure? And this is where the sort of the job of protecting the dream. What do I and her ladyship Runa have to do as this office to make sure that ring is maintained and we can track it, and it's all the legal side goes into it, right? Yes, I have to do that, but no, I get to do that. I get to help write this policy, and we get to help write this handbook of maintaining that ring. And it's fun. From Luke, yeah, SCA should be available to all, but not all find the SCA suitable to their definition of fun. Correct. I agree. I think the SCA should be available to all, but we're not going to let you, whoever you is, make it so others can't enjoy this game, and that's an important part. There are times I want to hear peers complain. This site is not great for accessibility. How do we help today? What do we look for sites to be better? Examples, see also racism. You're right. And I think the idea of complaining here, I want to maybe correct your wording there, Patrona. I don't know that they're complaining. They're pointing out problems to you. They're not complaining to you. They're saying, hey, look, this is a problem. How can we fix it? So in your case, and I'm familiar with your situation, and also with your partners, racism is a huge thing in the SCA. Accessibility is a huge thing in the SCA. We have sites that are not accessible to people who are any form of disabled. That's a whole gamut there. We also have sites that are not accessible to people who are of certain colors, because we live in the South. Or at least, I'm sorry, I live in the South. It's a thing down here. We have to consider when we're picking certain sites. Who owns the site? Where is the site at? There's like Gulf Wars. Thane Sammy and I talked about this on the shows. Sammy can't go to Gulf Wars, or chooses not to because of where it is. Because it's in bumfuck Mississippi. And whereas the site itself is fine, getting to it's hard. Right? So I think the peers aren't complaining to you at that point, Patrona. I think the peers are doing their job, and they are bringing their concerns and their critiques. I think Sifa brought up a great point: critiques and spots for improvement to their crown. In your case, as Baroness, the Baroness and the landed baronage are the crown's representative. So they're bringing their problems and their things that need fixing to the crown to then be fixed, or at least be addressed. I think that's important. Because what that does is, as peers, being defenders of the dream, they're helping others maintain this dream, which then allows them, and by proxy you and those peers, to have fun in this society. Sit with that for a second. Think about that. Problem I do shows by myself is I'm drinking enough coffee. So I sit here like at the end of it, like the last 10 minutes, because I always watch the clock. I'm like, I should keep these about an hour. I try to respect y'all's time, respect, I have other things I want to do, but also don't want to talk all day. I get to the last 10 minutes, I'm like, crap, I've still got half a cup of coffee I got to finish now. I'm like chugging it down. Maya, don't put your tail on my coffee warmer, baby. It's going to get hot. Yes. Let's see. I think that's all I got today, guys. Let me do some show plugs, and then I'll do some final thoughts here. All right, coming up next on Kal-bardr's Corner. So I did not load it. Give me a second. I was so worried about getting the new production. Oh, so we got a new. I'll do this while I'm doing this. We got a new patron today. Give me a second. I'll pop his name up as well. We got a Sonny Scott out of Glen Albin. I want to thank Red, David McWhorter, Cyprian. This is his name, Cyprian McWhorter. Cyprian out. Cyprian out. We're just gonna go Cyprian or David McWhorter over in Glen Albin. Who has been featuring all of my games from that I use as KK Productions rewards on the Glen Albin Facebook page. So thank you to that, Cyprian. It was super cool. I was like, I got tagged in a comment the other day. I was like, what's this? I was like, oh, that's neat. He's doing a gaming event or at an event coming up and has been promoting games. And a lot of them are stuff that I've sent him. So I was super excited to see that. And it was nice to see some of the work I've done on games getting put out there. I don't have to finish my coffee. I get to. Thank you for that. Oh, my wife, she's at this point I have to finish my coffee because it's pattern and I have to finish it. I get to drink the next one when I finish this. That's the ticket here. Oh, morning, Fergus. Good to see you, buddy. All right, so there you go. So Sonny Scott, a new night level patron. Thank you for that, Sonny, and you'll get your welcome out on Facebook in a little bit here. But coming up next Sunday, we will not have a Road to Retention episode that Sunday night because I will be traveling, and I do tech for those shows. So, and Remote is currently dealing with flooding and things out there, and so we're just going to call off next week, and that's fine because life comes first, and these shows are less important than that. So we'll come back on the next one. But that morning, in this case, actually 2:00 Central Standard Time, we've moved into a special time for our guest. We'll have Master Aslak, excuse me, with Rekindling the Magic. We're joined by Baroness Tiana to talk about next level luxuriating, which I'm excited to hear about because I saw that title pop up when he sent it to me. I was like, next level luxuriating. I'm not luxuriating enough, clearly. I need to luxuriate more. So tune in for that. Again, that'll be 2:00 Mountain Time. 2:00 Central Standard Time, 1:00 Mountain Time, noon West Coast Time, or like 3:00 East Coast Time. Or if you're in Australia, I don't know, pick a day. It'll be on there somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, so there's Remote. Yeah, no, Remote, please don't apologize. We know focus on family again. That is much more important. Focus on family, and we'll catch up. We'll catch up for the next one. Like I said, it worked out because I won't be here either, so I'll be traveling. But speaking of traveling, the next Sunday on the normal Coffee with Cal, it will be a pre-recorded episode. But I'll be joined by the Angels, including Duke Thorfinn, the current Krapow, who will not be Krapow by then, but he's going to be the current Krapow, and others to talk about the Krapow. So the Angels and Krapow combatants and others that, fortunately, people who were there at the very first Krapow. This is now will be the 315th Krapow, which is a monthly tournament they do over in the West Kingdom to help people learn how to fight in tournaments better. And I just love it. I've watched it all through COVID, and when the Helga and Havak and Hans and Thorfinn were maintaining it. And I just love that they were doing that. And I love that they kept this tradition. So tune in for that. Again, it will be a pre-recorded episode. So apologies for that. But the site being what it is, we couldn't do it live. So we're going to record it Thursday night, and then I'll run off site and upload it. So it'll be there for you guys on Sunday at the normal time. So last but not least, let's see. So that's next week's and the following week's. Also, make sure to check me out on TikTok at Kal-bardr. So Kisa and Rhea and I will be TikToking the entire trip to Ontier West and back. So check those out. There'll be lots of fun state facts, and we'll discuss each kingdom we're in and things like that. So look that up. Also, if you want to join us on Patreon, patreon.com/KK Productions, or you can look us up on Redbubble, search KK Productions on Redbubble. I think it's it. There you go. Now, a plug for Aslak's next show, because Tiana takes luxuriating to the next level. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how to luxuriate better, because I don't do it well enough. All right. To sum up, the SCA is a business. The SCA is we have things we have to do, get to do, to maintain the job, right? We have jobs that are legal side requirements that somebody else, in this case the federal government, whatever, tells us you got to do these things to maintain your status. I get it. Those are not fun. They're not always enjoyable. Somebody's got to clean the bathrooms, right? So somebody cleans the bathrooms so others get to enjoy it. I know that. While you're doing those jobs, or any other job in the SCA, find fun. If you can't find the fun, find someone else to help you find the fun. Come find me. I'll help you find the fun. There's so much we can do to make the SCA more fun, or in my case, funner. That if I have fun, 2 other people have fun. If 2 other people have fun, 4 other people have fun. 4 other people have fun, 8 other people have fun, and it's a pyramid scheme. Right? It becomes a pyramid of fun. The SCA then becomes more fun. I think that's something that the peers out there can remember, the crowns out there can remember, and those are not peers, right? Those are who are just lesser minor nobles in the kingdoms. If you are the example for others, you will spread that joy. Your joy spreads to others, spreads to others, spread to others. It then allows you to stop for a minute and just enjoy it. All right. I know it's difficult to be the one person who does things, and be the only person doing things at events, and to feel like you're the only person that can ever be exchequer, or like the only person that ever can be herald because no one else can do it or wants to do it or whatever. Think about next time when you're doing the job and how much you hate it, how much you're projecting that you hate it, and what others are seeing of that. There's a thing I see a lot on Facebook when people step down from offices, is they step down and are congratulated for escaping, or they're happy to be quitting the job. It should be a sad day. You shouldn't want to leave your job. If you're leaving a role and unhappy about it, then it's good. Don't get me wrong. If you're unhappy about a role, then yes, please step down, leave the role. That should be the focus. But focus on the fun of it. Don't focus on the why it was painful for you, because others see that. Others see it and then aren't going to enjoy the thing in the future, and it becomes not a fun thing. And that perpetuates the cycle of us not having fun. So have fun in the SCA. And yes, our trip to West Ontario, by the way, or Ontario West, will include a clothespin Sifa, or in this case, a peg Sifa. We'll be carrying her with us along with a stuffed Runa. So you'll get to meet both of them through TikTok as well. And Randall, looking forward to meeting you as well. Looking forward to meeting all the rest of you out at Ontario West. If you're coming to Ontario West, please come find me. I do not know all of you. All of you know me. So please come find me. Let me know who you are. Come introduce yourselves to me. I do not deal with this celebrity well. So if I run away, it's not you, it's me, I promise. But I will try to. I want to meet all of you. I want to meet someone. Want to meet as many people as I can. Put names to faces. So please come and introduce yourself. Say hi. Let me know you're there. And tell me. Also, please. Okay. Personal request from Kal-bardr here. Don't tell me you watch my shows. Please tell me you like my shows. I've had a lot of people recently. They're like, "Oh yeah, man, I watch your shows," and they do it with an excited voice, which means in my head they like them, but they never say they like them, and I don't ever know what to say to people to say, "Oh yeah, I've seen your show," or "I watched your show." I'm like, "Well, did you like it?" I guess if they keep watching it, they enjoy it, right? So please, if you meet me, please tell me you like my shows so I can respond appropriately. I would appreciate you. Oh man! All right, folks, it is now noon o'clock my time. I've got to go fix my armor after we've had my helmet because a mouse got in my helmet and chewed up my padding. So I got to go deal with that now. So that's my day for the day. I'm going to go repadding my helmet and fixing my elbows and prepping for Ontario West. Oh yeah, and Patrona will be there too. So if you're at West Ontario West, come meet Patrona, meet Baroness of Shattered Crystal. And myself and Kisa, and I'm sorry, Lady Kisa and Viscountess Catriona will all be there together. So come hang out with us, come say hi, and come meet my pupils. Until then, folks, that is an empty cup. And I've been Kal-bardr. This has been Cal in Kal-bardr's Corner. Have a good day, everybody.